Hello and welcome to Knowledge Trains. It is really important to understand the storage concepts when you're working with servers because most of the times what happens is that if you do not have a good strategy in mind or good configuration in place for your storage, you may lose your data. So in servers environment, and most of the time these days, like if you have a desktop computer, you may also configure storage options in there so that it provides fault tolerance, failover, and better performance for you. So this is where RAID is going to come up. So RAID stands for Redundant Array of Inexpensive Disk. And what it is that it is used to implement in the businesses. So these days, if you have a network attached storage, a storage area network, or servers that you actually have with multiple hard drive, all of them have RAID configured. So in most of the times, if your hard drive, one of your hard drive is no longer working, it's dead, or anything happens to it, you still will have your data in place and you will not lose your data. So that is the magic of RAID. But RAID actually comes in different flavors, so that's why when configuring RAID, you need to understand the different types of RAID that we have, and based on that, you can configure that. So again, RAID provides fault tolerance and it is good for performance as well as it provides failover. There are different types of RAID like RAID 1, RAID 2, RAID 3, 5, 6, 10. But what are we gonna cover here is four of them, which is RAID 0. So RAID 0 is basically where you have two disks or two hard drive, physical hard drives, and you are configuring them as RAID 0. It provides performance, meaning that the read and write of your data will be very fast because it is going to be reading it from both disks at the same time, but it does not provide any fault tolerance, meaning that if one of your hard drive goes down, everything is gone. Like you will not be able to access your data. So that is the downside for RAID 0. Um, when it comes to RAID 1 provides fault tolerance and it configures mirroring. So it configures mirroring, and through that mirroring, what it does is that it creates a copy of your files. For example, you create a file, and then what it does is it creates a copy of the same file um, into another hard drive, and that is how it is providing you fault tolerance so that if one of the hard drive goes down, you will be able to use your data and it will not go down. So this is RAID 1, and it is the cheapest solution, meaning that you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can use two disks here, two hard drives here. RAID 5 these days is used by most of the servers and most of the storage network attached storage because it provides performance and mirroring. So it provides performance and mirroring, meaning that it combines the features of RAID 0 and RAID 1. So you are able to access your data much faster, and then if one of the hard drive goes down, you're still able to access your data, but you at least need three hard drives. RAID 6 is identical as RAID 5, but it is more robust because in here what will happen is that you have three hard drives. If two of them goes down, that's a problem. But in RAID 6, if you have like even two hard drive failed at the same time, the other one will take care of the data. So you will still have access to your data. So that is a good thing about RAID 6. So one of the important thing to understand in here is that when configuring RAID in your production environment, always look at how many hard drives you have and which RAID is gonna meet your business need, and very important thing is test it. Test it, test it. Anything like that when you do in production environment, always test it because you never know. You have it configured and then when the time comes, it's not gonna work. So always test, test, test. That is the strategy when configuring data loss, mechanisms like preventing for losing your data, so that you don't lose your data. Sorry. So all right. So in our next video, we will see how can we configure uh, these different rate levels.